All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Your man, Big Jack. This is where we prove we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. And man, we got a wonderful show for you today. You know how it works. We got a good. So earlier today, though, I want to share this with you. I uh, I started a 90-day challenge. So earlier today, I put out a video, a 90-day challenge where I'm going to pick 3 videos, 3 channels, go to them, watch their video, one of the long forms all the way through. And then I'm going to make sure I leave a comment on that video and with the hashtag grow and glow together. So this is a 90-day challenge, and I'm asking each and every person out there who's willing and able to get involved in the challenge to come on and be part of this 90-day challenge so we can prove that we are stronger together. So I'm starting today, and I want my goal is to do a video every day for the 90 days showing that I'm out here hustling, trying to help us all grow and glow together. So if you want to be part of that challenge, make sure you go to 3 people's channels. Make sure you watch one of their long form videos all the way through. Leave a comment in their comment section and hit that hashtag grow and glow together. And so we can all, again, prove that we are stronger together. But hey, thank you. So with that being said, I got my man in the back, you know that. So we're going to get him up on the stage, do a little chit chatting, and then we got a wonderful guest for you today. So let's hold on. Let me get my man up here. My man, Walt Talks, what's up?
Big Jack, my man, what's happening, sir?
Oh, look, hey, I thought you wasn't going to be here today. I don't know what's going on.
You know, man, the mind is a terrible thing to waste, man. Of all the things I've lost in my entire life, I miss my mind the most.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to be going to a former co-worker, his retirement celebration, I thought was tonight. But of course, when they sent me the flyer, and I'm looking at it, I guess every time I'm looking at it at a stoplight or halfway looking at it. And the RSVP is by the 14th, which I did 2-3 days ago. No big deal. But the event is the 27th. So I'm riding down the highway, heading to the destination, called a friend of mine to see if he was coming. And he's like, what are you talking about, man? I think it's like 2 weeks from now. I'm like, no, man, it's the, and I pulled it up and here we go. So here I am. Turn around, man. You got to be able to adapt, adjust, and all that good stuff. But I'm right where I'm supposed to be on time. So here we are. So
hey, and I appreciate you being here with me, hanging out with me. You know that I was, you miss you when you're gone. I said if he wasn't gonna be here, we're gonna keep the show moving. You know how that worked. But at the same time, when I saw your text, said see you at 6:30. I'm like, how you ain't gonna be here? What's going on?
Yeah. You said you hate when I'm gone. It's just like I'm here,
huh? Nah, man. You know I'll never see that any kind of way.
I know, man. I know. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, and I'm here. So
we got a wonderful show. We got an awesome guest backstage, and we're going to get him up on this stage. But before we go in there, I just want to drop this note, and I don't know if you even seen it, but we have T-shirts now. We're on Etsy.
Oh man, okay.
We're on Etsy. So there's a Walt Talks shirt, and there's a Boss B Productions, and then of course we got the Iron Sharpening Iron, the Gentleman's Journal, and the Battle of the Sexes all have their own shirts, and the We Be Jamming Live. So hopefully we can get the link out there today, so it'll be in the chat for those who are going to be watching the show. Go back there and go into Etsy, see their shirts, and if they want one, we got all different colors, all different sizes. We're moving into a new direction. We got merchandise from the Iron Sharpening Iron Show.
Well, once you get the merch, man, especially with Walt Talks on it, looks like my jackleg status might be in danger. So
yeah.
Okay.
We had to step up
Okay.
our game a little bit. We
I
just had
got
to
to
step
step
up
it
our
up,
game
man. All right, got to do
just a
some
little bit.
push-ups and jumping jacks and all
Yeah,
that good
yeah.
stuff,
Look,
man. So
trust
yeah,
me. Yeah, I know,
you
right?
got to get it together. Okay.
I want them to start calling me Little Jack, not Big Jack, because
Hey,
I
well,
got to work.
good luck with that, man. You've been inside since I've known you, man.
Yeah, I
So
know,
hey,
ain't that something? So look,
relatively
man, we got
speaking.
Dr. Ghazi Muhammad in the back. So we're
All
gonna
right.
get him up on the stage. So let's welcome him to the show. All right, Dr. Muhammad, how
Right.
you doing, sir?
I'm good, big brothers. How y'all doing, man?
Doing well,
And
sir. Nice to meet you.
Oh man,
welcome,
likewise.
welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
I'm my man. I'm Big Jack, and that's my man Walt Talks. And
Meet you,
we
sir.
are live on YouTube, Facebook, and now Twitch. So we're live on Twitch right now. So that's new. That's new for me. So we're still growing that platform out there, and we're here. So glad that you're here. So glad that you were able to be on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, and looking forward to having a conversation with you.
Yes, sir.
So. I don't even want to waste any time with you, sir. So can you tell us just a little bit about yourself, and then we get into this conversation?
Yes, sir. Well, I am a speaker, a writer, a coach. I have a brand, the Story Alchemist brand. Well, I like helping people go into their stories and extracting from their story those powerful, transformative lessons. I recently kicked off my Shadow Wealth podcast on August 28th. And as I was sharing with you earlier behind the stage, August 28th is a very significant day for me because I went to prison August 28th, 1988 as a junior in high school. And I got out of prison August 28th, 1995, 7 years later, at the age of 24 years old. And one of my favorite verses in the Bible is Romans 8:28. All things work for the good, those who love the Lord and called according to his purpose. And so that day is a very significant day for me. 37 years since I went in, 30 years since I went out. And what I tell people is that, we can share with our children money and cash and trust funds. But one of the greatest things, the greatest wealth that we can pass on to the next generation is the transformative lessons of our lives. What gave us that grit and that grind? What made us overcome the obstacles, face the challenges and the difficult times? What made us climb those mountains, get up out that valley? Those lessons right there are the real wealth that's in our story that we need to pass on to our children. And if we don't do that, we can pass on wealth to our children, monetary wealth, but without them lessons, they can squander it in one generation.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's so we've had different guests on the show, and we've had many, or not say many, but different people say that they've been to jail, but you're the first person I heard say they went to prison. So, and I don't want to harken on it, but you said as a junior in high school, so I'm more intrigued for a second, if you don't mind, helping us or helping me. Where was that, and was that a turning point for you? From your experience with whatever happened to get you in, you getting out, was that the turning point for you?
Yeah, probably the turning point probably took place before I went in, actually. But I was, I'm from St. Louis originally, so I grew up in them, in them streets of St. Louis. It's a pretty rough city, to be a small city like it is. And when I got locked up, it was something with me. So it was a lot of older brothers that used to give me books, and the books they would give. I remember brother gave me a book, and I'm like, man, I want to read that. I like tossed the book at him. And he say, "No, young brother, read this book." And there was a book by J.A. Rogers, the black historian J.A. Rogers. And when I read the book, I was intrigued with what I was reading because I come up, listen to Minister Farrakhan. My uncle was in the nation, and so I was familiar with that way before I went to prison. But I was still bad. I had the gravitational pull toward the streets. The streets just had a strong gravitational pull on me. But I had the seeds in my mind already, right? Being around some of the FOI, being around my uncle, and I had met the minister before I went to prison, and Brother Khaled, and many others. This before I went to prison, so I had them seeds in my mind. And what happened was when I got locked up, those seeds, when I got to reading these books, those seeds began to be watered. And during that time, I spent like 48 months, nearly 48 months at that time, was in solitary confinement. So it shipped me around to 6 different prisons, and a little bit over 47 months at that time was spent in solitary confinement. And I was just reading books. And so I remember a older guy here in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta now, and the older guy here, he told me one day, he said, Dr. Ghazi, I'm not talking to these young people because they don't listen. He said they hard headed and they just not gonna listen. So I ain't gonna waste my time talking to them. And what I shared with the brother was this. I say, man, I hear what you're saying. I say, but I remember when I was young and hard headed, just like some of these brothers you talking to. Like people could have written me off, but there was some older brothers around me, some of the FOI, some of my uncle and them, and some of the other brothers in the community that was kept putting seeds in my head. And I say, man, what about when I went to prison? When I went to prison, those seeds began to get watered and they took root and they got stronger and they started building in me a certain kind of character and certain kind of perspective. But I say, what if them seeds wasn't in my mind? I would have went in a little thug and came out a little thug, you know, but I had seeds in my mind. So our job as older men and older women is not necessarily to change your life right now. My job now is just to plant seeds. I want to plant seeds out there. And I know that life, experiences, growth, maturing, having your children, having a family, learning lessons in life, it's going to begin to water those seeds. And those seeds at some point to take root. So it ain't my job to control the sun or the rain, but my job is to plant them seeds. And I think that's what a lot of older guys did for me. They began to plant seeds, and those seeds began to be watered by things that I read, things that I experienced. As I began to grow, those seeds began to take root.
No, that's truly a great lesson that you, like you say, you went in with the seeds already planted, so someone can actually water the seeds. And as the scriptures would say, the Bible would say that, you know, one planteth, one water, and God gives the increase. So it's like, you know, like you say, that same lesson of a person planting the seed, someone giving you confirmation or more knowledge and watering your seed. And then you have some, like I say, that wealth of knowledge because of your experience to share with somebody else. So that's what's up. Now that's what's up. So I see that you're a doctor. So you're a medical doctor, a dentist. What's the doctor? Where did it come from?
And that's a long story right there, man. So you know, prior to last year, for 30 years, I've been out 30 years out of prison. August 28 was 30 years. And during that time, I had several businesses, I had a couple of transitional houses that I co-founded with a brother on the West Coast in Phoenix. I had mentoring programs, role model programs. I've been doing a lot over the last 30 years. So I had an opportunity to go to Africa, to Nairobi, Kenya, and speak. And it was a very phenomenal and life-changing experience for me. Well, when I got back, it put me on the radar of some real good people who looked into my history, looked at some of the things that I had been doing. And the brother said, man, I'm going to recommend you for a doctorate degree. And I remember being on the phone with him, you know, and I say, oh, man, cool. And then he say, he paused a little bit. He say, did you hear me? I say, yeah, cool. I really didn't know I didn't know what he was talking about for real, to be honest. As soon as when I hung up the phone, I Googled, what's the honorary doctor degree? You know, I didn't know what that meant. You know what I'm saying? And then when I looked at it, I said, oh, man, that's some good stuff right there, right? And I remember, you know, when I had the gown on, man, I put that thing on because I never graduated from nothing in my life. You know, I was kicked, in and out, suspended from school all the time, in and out of juvenile, you know, wound up going to prison before I had a chance to graduate from high school. So I never had a cap and gown on in my life for nothing, you know. So when I put that thing on, man, that hat was all ace deuce and all crooked and everything, man. I'm like, man, what is this thing, man? You know, and it was a whole nother world. But December the 14th of 2024, and I was blessed to receive an honorary doctorate degree in philosophy and humanities for the work that, you know, I've been blessed to do over the last 30 years.
Wow, that's amazing right there. Because we hear a lot of times people say they have, well, I didn't graduate. What's up? Say I didn't go to college or whatever, but I got street knowledge, I got street education, I got street experience, and I say your experiences and your walk and the things that you're doing is another way showing that you can be, you know, you have an education that you might not have gotten. You got out of books, but you might not been in a traditional school to get it. Get that degree.
And let me say something on that. You know, I didn't know if that was valid or you know, what that even meant for real. So I started researching what it was, and I came across, you know, the black physicist who worked at NASA, Neil deGrasse.
Neil deGrasse,
scientist. And so I came across a video that he had done, and you know, of course, you know, he matriculated through the high schools of learning and got PhDs, but he was getting an honorary doctorate degree from some school. And he said that he was in NASA talking to some of the other scientists, and he was downplaying the honorary doctorate degree. Like, I don't think I'm gonna go to that thing. And he said one of the guys at NASA told him this right here. He said, look, when we go to school and get a doctorate degree, a PhD, that's telling the world that we prepared to do something with what we have learned over the last 8 to 10 years, right? He said, but when you get an honorary doctorate degree, That's somebody honoring you to say you have already done it, that you have put in work, you have done it. So he said it shifted his mind about what an honorary doctorate degree was, because it wasn't a declaration that I'm going to do something. It was saying we honor you because you have done something. You know, you've done some over the last years that some of us go to school to learn how to do. It kind of brought that in perspective for me.
Wow.
So it's not just theory; it's application.
Oh yeah, man, that's boots on the ground, man. You know that song that's going viral right now. Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the song that's going viral right now, you say you're in Atlanta, and if I'm not mistaken, that's Mosque 15, correct?
Right.
So 4 or 5 brothers have a video that's been banging on YouTube.
Oh yeah, FYI, brother.
Man, let me tell you something, man. I listen to that thing at least 5-6 times a day.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm an old hip hop guy, and it takes me back to my first experiences with hip hop when it was positive, when it was, self-improvement, when it was good stuff. So yeah, man, if you run across those brothers, man, tell them, man, they have plenty of support out here, man. They have a great video. Their message is incredible. Yes, sir.
Wow, that's so with all of this, and I see you say you got a new podcast, right? Okay, and it's Share the Wealth podcast. Okay, and the wealth is and you're saying it's the wealth of knowledge. Is that or experience
that's found in our stories? It's the lessons that's found in our stories. Yeah. So I tell people this right here. So my brand is the Story Alchemist, and alchemy is those who can turn base metals into gold, or they find a universal elixir or cure for diseases, right? So my mind is wired to find value in lessons in stories. I can listen to a story, anybody. It can be bad, horrific, traumatic, painful. It don't make a difference. My mind is wired. God has shaped my mind in a way where I can pull value out of that story, transform the lesson about that story. Where somebody thinking it's bad and traumatic, I'm saying like, damn, you sitting on a gold mine right there. Do you know what you got? And so I tell people that stories are so important and so valuable that God himself uses stories to express divine revelation. The Bible from Genesis to Revelation is stories. The Holy Quran from Al-Fatiha to Nas is stories. The Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, the ancient Kemetic Book of the Dead, all the ancient scriptures, they ain't number stories. These are stories. And if God used stories to convey divine revelation, it's one thing to talk about David and Goliath, but what about David in the hood? He got a story too. Let's go into David's story in the hood and pull some lessons out of David's story. And trust me, them stories can benefit the next generation and David. He can elevate David, people around him, and the next generation. So my mind is really wired to pull out them lessons from people's stories, and life experience.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, so what's what is your how would you get me? How would you get me as a person to, like I say, pull that story out, to share that story? If I'm a shy, or I'm afraid to share with the world, but you're telling me my story has value, but at the same time, how would you come across? How would you help me get there?
It's a as a student, I love to read, man. I read all kinds of books. That's a habit from them camps, for real. I read thousands of books, man. Like when I was like, you spend all the time in the hole, you ain't got nothing to do but read, man. I go crazy, but I had an opportunity. Reading became my drug of choice then and now. Like it's my escape. I can read. I got to read every day. It's like a habit. I have books in my bed. I just can't go to sleep without reading ever. Like never like that for 30 years. I just can't go to bed without reading something, right? So looking at science, when you look at science, I'm gonna take like water, H2O, and relate this to our stories. When you separate the hydrogen and the oxygen, hydrogen is flammable. It's explosive. You got the H bond. Oxygen is something we all need for life, right? But when you put them two together, it produces water. So what I realized about my life was that my earlier life, I didn't know my father till I was 14. That was a hydrogen experience for me. My mother was a hustler turned drug guy that got addicted to crack. She struggled with crack addiction for many years of her life before she transitioned to the ancestors. But that was a hydrogen experience for me. Me going to juvenile and drug rehab as a teenager, a mental hospital, penitentiary, them hydrogen experience for me. What I realized is I don't have to discard my hydrogen experience. All I got to do is go through my life and find that oxygen experience and put them two together, the lessons from them two together, and produce water, and everybody around me can drink. I can give life to everybody around me.
Wow.
Oftentimes, what we do is we look at the negative and we just judge ourselves by the negative. No, it's something else in your life. It ain't been all bad. It ain't been all negative. And if you can get them positive lessons, take from them and put it together, it's gonna produce a chemical reaction, something totally new that's unbeknownst to you and those around you. But it's life-giving to yourself and those around you. So I tell people is shift your perspective on how you seeing your story, how you viewing your life. It's all on how you shift your perspective, you know. And an example of that is, so my mother, when I was coming, my mother, she had her first child at the age of 14. She had my twin brother and I at the age of 16. By age 20, my mother had 5 children and had been married twice. So she didn't have a lot of formal education, but my mother had a PhD in streetology. That woman knew how to hustle and make some money, you know, and she was just straight street savvy. My mother was really like that. And she was that go-to person in the hood, right? But like when she got strung out on drugs and things like that and started struggling with drug addiction, when I came home, it was something in my mind, no matter what I did positive, I always had in my mind, like, man, but you the son of, you know, a parent that's addicted to drugs. You know what I'm saying? It was always in my mind, you know, you a convict. You know, you ain't nothing but an ex-con. You know, you ain't got no education. And that was always my mind, no matter what mentoring program, role model program. To be honest with myself, that was always hunting me in the back of my mind. But what I did was I learned how to shift my own perspective of my own self in my own mind. So rather looking at my mother, looking at myself as the child of a mother addicted to drugs, I started looking at my mother as the mother of an accomplished author. I started looking at my mother as the mother of an international speaker, as the mother of somebody who's going to impact the community. And looking at myself from the negative, I started judging her from the positive. And that gave me more respect for her. Like, man, you gave birth to me. So no matter what struggles you're going through in life, look what you produced. You know what I'm saying? Look what you gave birth to. And your son like he got a different heart, a different mind. Because I don't deal with drugs. You know, if people do that, that's their cup of tea, but that ain't my cup of tea, you know. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to impact the next generation. But it was produced from women like that. So when I shift my perspective, and all of us, we shift the perspective from the other side of the coin, we can look at our life from the positive rather than the negative.
Yes, sir. Wow. Change your perspective, change your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they can't keep you in prison. You know, they can't keep your mind in prison. They can keep your body in prison, but they can't keep your mind. There you go. Yeah. Wow.
No. So now I hear in the background a little bit, I hear a little chatter. So
yeah, that's my little dude, Ghazi. You know, look, Ghazi, man, my baby boy over there, man, running his mouth, man. You know,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
I got 10, man. You know, that's a baby boy. Oh. My oldest 37, my baby boy 4, man. I got grandbabies over this boy.
Wow, so 10 kids. Wow, that's wow. that's a lot of fathering. So I guess you said you was a twin, so I guess you got a couple of twins. Any sets?
No, I don't have no twins, man. They all just one at a time. And you know, my twin got a lot of children themselves too, and we just all one at a time. And you know, I was blessed to be there for all their births and you know, raise them. And you know, I've been through a couple of marriages and divorce, but I pretty much raised all my children. They was all with me. When I came home, it was challenging. I had a baby every year for the first 4 years. When I got out, and I joke with people, say, man, don't judge me. I had to make up for lost time. Hell, I was gone for a while, right? And I had a baby every year, man, for 4 years, right? But I wound up getting custody of all 4 of them children. And, you know, them 4 was with me through marriage, divorce, whatever, you know, until they got grown, you know, and they doing pretty good. You know, I got a daughter, you know, she, you know, got a full ride at UIC, man, Chicago. She's going to be what they call that, dealing with pain, anesthesiologist.
Oh, okay.
And she's so smart. She just she's the next level with it, man. And, you know, my sons, them doing pretty good, man. My son married with children, daughters married with children. And, you know, I definitely believe in breaking the cycle, you know, and I think with myself and my children, you know, we definitely breaking generational cycles because, you know, I come from one of them families that generations of convicts, generations of people addicted to drugs and alcohol, you know, and that's kind of gave me the mind, even not from a moral or religious perspective, but when I was younger, my grandfather, we was real tight. I was close with my grandfather, and he was an alcoholic. And I used to see him walk to the liquor store every day to go get that fit. And I remember when he died in Veterans Hospital in St. Louis, the day he died, he wanted to drink, you know, and my family went and got him a drink. And I'm a young boy. I'm thinking like, why y'all getting him a drink? And that stuff killing them. I was mad at all of them. I would have blew all of them up if I could. Like, I'm like, man, y'all finna get my granddad and this stuff killing them. And of course, when you're young, you don't understand that he ain't got nothing but a couple hours to live. He just want to be comfortable or whatever.
Right.
Like he had cirrhosis of the liver, and he had pretty much tore him up. But still, that affected me. So I never really wanted to get into drugs because my granddad, that was my guy. That, you know what I'm saying? I used to love my granddaddy. You know.
Wow. As a matter of fact, a lot of people that was on alcohol or doing that they used to call it their medicine. Like, I need my medicine. That was going to calm my nerves. It was going to soothe my stomach. Yeah. So yeah, and so being young. Now I'm intrigued to the point because you said you went in the prison in as a junior in high school, and you came out 7 years later. So you pretty much grew up or even became a man, if you want to look at that, so while you were in prison.
No doubt.
But yet you was a successful father. So what was the what was the motivation? What was the drive? How? Because the fact that most of your time of growing up was, like, so we say, well, there's no book on how to do it, but at the same time, you're successful. So what was your story for that?
Man, two things. One, I started listening to the minister again at a young age. Minister Louis Farrakhan had a deep impact on my life then and now. Like, probably the greatest influence on my life personally. Definitely, no doubt, has been the minister. And so just looking at him and just the integrity and the character, watching him over the years, studying him and like want to be like him, have a character like him, a family man who loved the community, who in the community. And then on the other side, on a personal level, I didn't know my father until I was 14 years old. I had never seen his face, never heard his voice, but nothing. And I remember the first day I met my father, my mother was about to have me locked up in juvenile till I was 21. And like I was destined to do 7 years somewhere, And it just so happened that one of my mother's boyfriend's friends came over, they smoking a little weed, and she like, hey, call my twin brother, and I like, this our daddy cousin, his relative. I'm like, man, my dad, I'm gonna go to juvenile next week. I'm like, man, so my daddy? I literally had never seen a picture of him, and I just knew his name. And he gave me my father's number. I called him, and he like, who is this, my son? I'm like, yeah, man, do you remember us? It was just like that. My twin brother and I caught the bus over to East St. Louis. He lived in East St. Louis at the time, across the water. And first day I met him, I'm like, hey, man, I got to live with you, man. Come on, finna have me locked up next week in juvenile. And my eyes probably was red from smoking weed. My hat was all ace deuce. And he looking at me like, hey, I don't know about that, man. Let me talk to my wife about this one, man. Because I had a little brother. I had a little brother, Brian, who was about 4 or 5 years old at the time. And he was like, I don't know, bring this thug around my son, But he talked to his wife, and her name was Grace, and she definitely extended some grace. And she said, yeah, let him come on over and do good. And it just so happened when I went over there, they lived on the same street that the mosque was on in East St. Louis. So it just worked out so divinely because I was able to walk down the street to the mosque and everything. I ain't need my uncle to come pick me up no more. But, because my father was missing in my life at the early age, at that pivotal time, it always put in me a desire not to be like that. So even when I was locked up, so my older daughter, 37, she was 3 months when I got locked up. So I used to have a picture on the wall in all the cells I was in, Anissa. I used to have a picture on the wall, and I used to always say when I get out, I'm gonna be a good father. It inspired me. I kept thinking about it. I'm gonna be a good dad. I ain't gonna be like my daddy was to me. Now me and my daddy, we jam to this day. That's my guy right now. He and I real jam. That's my guy. We talk every week, several times a week sometimes. And but I didn't know when I was coming up, and it had a different effect on me. I didn't want to repeat that. I wanted to be opposite of that. Right. And listen to the minister, just listen to all the positive. Yes. That's coming in on one end, and not want to be on the negative and repeat them cycles on the other end. It kind of had a dual effect on my mind,
So you mentioned your first 48 months. You went to 6, I think you said, prisons. He had you
right.
Had you in that diesel therapy, right? So you was seeing the world, so to speak. Did you know at that time, back to your hydrogen analogy, that you were really being built for today? Those interactions, those relationships, those men who poured into you. You saw what you wanted to be, what you didn't want to be. You saw some quote unquote good men who may not have treated you well as on the other side and on the correction side. So when you had this paradigm shift in your thinking, man, at what point, what moment did you really have this paradigm shift in your thinking where you just like, it just made sense for you, like the light bulb just went off?
Man, that's a good question, brother. It's something, again, I got to go back to the minister, man, because the day before I was sentenced, it was a brother who was an FOI. He was a correctional officer, and he brought in a cassette tape to the jail for me to listen to. It was at a minister, and the minister said on the tape, he say, "We pray for what we want, but God knows best what we need," right? And I'm thinking like, well, I don't need to go to jail. So God, you know how you pray when you're in trouble, boy. God help me. I don't need to go to jail. They were talking about giving me 15 to 50 years. I'm like, man, I don't need to do that kind of stuff right there. But when I look back in hindsight now, we pray for what we want, but God knows best what we need. So when I went in, like, I never had problems with inmates. Like I was blessed. I never had, it was always with the administration, yeah, but never no inmates. And I was in Supermax, max security, where guys are getting stabbed up, they raped. I seen all kind of crazy stuff, murder. I seen all kind of stuff when I was in there, but I was never affected by that. Like God protected me from that type of reality right there. It was always from the administration, from the guards and stuff like that, But these older guys who was teaching me, I didn't know at that time like what they was doing, but now I got so much respect for them brothers. A lot of them older, but I got so much respect for them because they seen a young brother who had some potential. There were so many. I wasn't the only one they were doing that. It was a lot of young guys. Some of them older guys, all them old guys wasn't like trying to take advantage of you when they was crazy. A lot of them older guys, the guys who was training me, they were locked up before I was born. Right. And when I was fascinated, I'm like, man, you've been locked up since 60. What? I couldn't imagine that like that. We like in the 80s. I'm like, that's my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and they still had their sanity to them. They was, these brothers read books and, so these brothers was giving me these books, man, and shaping me. I didn't really know the effect of what they was doing. But when I was in there, that's why they kept me locked up. I started speaking when I was in there. So I developed a reputation of being a speaker, and the administration was like, no, we got to do something about this dude.
This guy,
being politicized. I'm reading all this history, and I'm regurgitating in a very persuasive and effective manner. And they're like, nah, we got to get rid of this guy. Then put him somewhere. When I was young, and like, when you're young, I should have been scared because it was a situation where them guards would take you out up in that.
Right.
When you're young and kind of like, but wow, it's like that override common sense,
Yes, sir.
Now I probably have a little common sense, like, hey man, these people are you would never go home. But when you're young, I ain't talking about nothing. I was just I was going at them, and I just wasn't afraid. But that kind of shaped my character too,
Yes, sir.
But at a time where they were trying to break me, do everything they can to break me, it was strengthening me. And what it did was that time in solitary confinement, it forced me to develop a relationship with the God, like to really become spiritual. I started praying more. I started reading scripture more. I started studying spiritual things more, and get a real relationship, with the God. And so it was a blessing. On one end, physically and emotionally, it was something else because my mother had got strung out on drugs, so I wasn't getting visits. I didn't have money coming on my books. I didn't none of that kind of stuff. So all the love from the brothers behind the walls. If I had TVs or shoes or suits, I mean, all that came from the brothers behind the walls. It didn't come from like family. One of my little brothers, when he got up in age and he started doing the hustle and all that, he would come see me and put the money on my books and all that. But that was like years later. I was pretty much on my way out. But for the most part, then a couple of my sisters used to write me letters, and that was the extent of it. My little sister Lisa, my other sister Peaches, they'd write me letters, and them letters were like, a lifesaver for when you're in the hole, and it's like there's no way out, and you get that letter, somebody saying, I love you, brother, and this and that. It was just very encouraging to me, but that was just enough for me to keep on going and to help me stay sane in an environment, because I seen people literally lose their mind. I seen people literally hang themselves. They opted out to take their life rather than survive the brutalities of Supermax. I mean, I seen guys hanging because they couldn't deal with it, So it kept me strong, though.
So that solitary confinement will introduce a man to himself real quick.
Man, with the quickness, man. And it's something because now I man, like to this day, like I don't have no problem with solitude. Because I read some books, man. Like, man, like, you go through trouble, I don't know if you're about to marry, but you go through that itch with your wife and she don't want to talk to you. I be like, man, cool, leave me alone. I got a book, I'm good. I ain't gonna go crazy and nothing like that. Matter of fact, I've written 6 books, and several of them books have been written up under them circumstances. Like, okay, you go through, you and your wife, but you understand your peers, and I'm like, I'm gonna take that energy. I'm not gonna focus on nothing emotional, and I'm not gonna break, but my mind ain't gonna be broke. I'm gonna take that energy. I'm gonna channel it towards something creative. Let me write a book on it during this time. Something that's been on my heart or my mind. So I just channeled it towards something different. And that's what the whole Story Alchemist is about for real. Shifting our perspective and channeling that energy towards something constructive rather than destructive.
That was The Alchemist, the book. I read that. I guess it came out
Yeah.
88. I may
That's a
have
good book, man.
been, I may have been just joining on my career. The minister, first time I saw him was 79, 10th
Oh
grade.
wow. Oh, so you're
And
OG.
at the DC Armory, man. And
Oh
the
man.
irony to that whole thing is I have a cousin who's in the nation right now. And I saw him at his mother's funeral probably 3 months ago. And I'm still messing with him because he still has my copy of Malcolm X,
Oh wow.
of the autobiography of Malcolm X that
Right.
Alex Haley wrote. I said, man, am I ever gonna get my book back, man? But
Right.
but that's our joke. But the thing is, man, I remember the impact that he had on me. I remember some of the things that he said back then that have come to light today.
Right.
And so yeah, man, I respect that. Definitely respect that, man. And so I'm imagining when you see young guys in the street, I mean, you have a heck of a conversation with them, man. You pour into them like guys poured into you, I would imagine, right?
Oh, no doubt, man. And now what I'm doing, the book I'm working on now, the gist of it is I've studied all the major crimes, and for every negative thing that our young brothers are doing, I found a corresponding positive perspective to see that thing on. Like I'm gonna give you an example. Like how we always say the brothers in the street hustling, slanging dope, whatever they're doing. These guys here, from a business perspective, they got to understand marketing. They got to understand supply and demand. They got to understand customer service. It's so much you got to understand to be out there if you're gonna be good in that game. But that's towards something destructive, though. But but the same mindset a CEO has. It's the same mindset. He just trying to towards something good. But
The
I've
skill
looked at
set does
burglars,
travel.
car thieves, game. I looked at all of them, and it's something corresponding with all of them. So really, the book I'm writing now is really to show them. Some people go to our young people. When I go into the school, they say, "Oh, you got to stop doing this." Well, my approach different. I don't say stop doing this. I say do it different. I'm like, no, you got 20 years of experience in this, boy. You got some skin in the game in this. Don't keep doing it, but now we're gonna show you how to do it differently. Now.
Right.
We gotta do it in the positive side. You ain't gotta be robbing nobody. We're gonna show you how to do it. We ain't gonna show you how to break in the house. We're gonna show you how to break into your vision and your goal in life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, that's awesome right there. I mean, it's definitely a amazing way to look at it. I mean, like I said, well, many times we wish someone would have snatched us up when we did wrong and said, "Hey, it's another way to do this. It's not. Oh, you don't have to go this way." We sometimes we get on those tough lessons and say, "Hey, they're gonna suck it up, or they'll get over it. They'll, they got to grow up or whatever." But if you can give me another direction, and that's a big thing I like, Dr. Muhammad, is the fact that don't just tell me my problem, give me a solution. So telling me I know I got this, but what else can I do? You can keep that same skill set, but do it for good. Take that same skill set and put it for good. And that's that's amazing. So for our guests that's out there, you used the term, or you said it a couple of times, FOI. Did you say FOI? Can you explain what FOI is for those who may not know what it is?
So FOI is the fruit of Islam. It's a brother that's around the minister, the brothers in the nation that, we go through a series of trainings, manhood training. Of course, we taught, to respect our women, to protect our women, our children, to build our communities up, make our communities a decent, safe place to live. And then these are the brothers, most of you see in all the cities across America with the suit and the bow ties on, setting the final call and the bean bags out there. All them brothers are FOI. Always trying to put a positive word out there in the city and, try to do something with our people. And, I actually became an FOI when I was 16 before I got locked up. But again, I was young and wild. So I wound up going to jail a few months after I became an FOI. But, it's the greatest impact on my life, like no doubt.
No, and I appreciate you for explaining that, because I like to say everyone don't know. I mean, we say it and we rattle off initials and we rattle off words. It's like, hey, like everyone knows what it is, but sometimes we just don't. So we're trying to educate, and I appreciate you explaining it, because I remember studying with the nation, studying with the brothers when I was in the military. When I went in, I think I was 22, maybe 23 years old. Lost. I mean, I went in at 22, 23. Now I'm the first time ever I'm on my own. I'm a grown person. I'm supposed to be grown, but they're like, you're lost. You're still a young man, don't know what you're doing. And I was going to what they call it, service. So you had the chaplain up there doing service. And for me personally, it was just dry. I was in there, we sing a couple of songs, you heard some word, but I wasn't getting any growth out of that at all. And then a couple of brothers talked to me outside of the church and say, hey, you got to come over here with us. And we do the fellowship and learning and this and that. So that right there was the time of learning outside of what I was traditional, raising. And I got to get a lot more understanding, a lot more knowledge and learning about myself, learning about who I was and what I needed to do and what I needed, to be a man, to be a father, be a husband, be all of those things. So I 100% understand exactly what you're saying there.
Yes, sir.
And we can appreciate it.
And sometimes people look at like the minister, and he got a lot of he get a bad rap. People like
absolutely.
He racist, he this, he that. But it's like I know. I mean, from my own life, and I know so many brothers that man words have reached down in the bowels of America and has affected the thinking and the change. And, I mean, I can't imagine where a lot of these communities would be without his presence. Like,
that's true.
I mean, and we bad off. We bad off. But man, it seemed like it'd be awesome. Cause I know a lot of brothers who was out there doing a lot of ruthless things, but they done heard something. And even though they, some of them may not have came to the nation, or they may not have changed their life completely around, but it's certain things they stopped doing. A lot of them diets have changed. A lot of them want to be more responsible to their families. And, so I came home right before the Million Man March. I came home like 48 days before the march. And I remember my PO, he told me, he knew I was a Muslim. He like, well, I said, well, I'm going to DC, y'all hometown for the march. He gonna tell me like, nah, you can't go because you can't cross state lines. I looked at this man and said, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. And I say, ain't nothing gonna keep me from the Million Man March.
Me either.
So I wound up going up there, man. That was just to see that sea of brothers and the love.
Oh, man.
It was the journey up there for me that was really most memorable, because every gas station, there was just so many brothers. They from all over Cali, they from everywhere, all over from other cities. And just, I mean, that kind of love, to this day, I haven't felt nothing like that. Even to this day, and I've been in a lot of things, been in Africa,
Yes.
I ain't felt that kind of love among us, among the brothers, where ain't no static, and we ain't banging on each other, we ain't hating on each other. It's just all love and respect, and that Million Man March had a deep impact on my thinking.
Yeah, I was there, and ironically, Bill, Big Jack, guess who I was there with?
My father.
Your father.
Wow.
September 16th, 1995. Yes, sir. Your father. Wow. Oh, man. I mean, this is amazing how life goes full circle, man. So, I mean, you said the minister catches a bad rap, but the beautiful thing is the truth cuts through everything. So, just like with you seem like you live your life with truth and facts, right? So I appreciate the fact that, man, that one, you admit that you're not a self-made man, even though you have done a lot to improve yourself, right? A lot of people can't get past that. So I respect that. When I see a man that tells me he's a self-made man, I run for my life, because how anybody can make it without anyone else is just amazing to me. But the fact that you sit here and you pay homage and you give your props and your respect and deference to what got you to where you are, that's huge, because the nation has been saving lives for a lot of years, man. This is a prime example of why you don't throw people away. So yeah, I appreciate that, man. I respect that wholeheartedly, man. And it's amazing that I was able to make it tonight, Jack, because it's like, oh man, this is like, this is my wheelhouse here, man. Listening to this conversation is incredible, man. So yeah, Doc, I really appreciate that, sir. Really.
Everything, and God knows what we need. Like you said, we started the show like that. You know what you want, but God knows what you need. So there it is, right there. So look, Dr. Muhammad, they help me out. You were in St. Louis. You talked about the, junior. You went to prison, But you also said that you are now in Atlanta. How did you get from St. Louis to Atlanta? What was the drive for that?
So I actually left St. Louis like years ago and moved to Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't want my children to be my sons. I was having all them boys. I didn't want to be really raised in St. Louis. We lived in the hood, man. I'm talking about, boy, pistol popping every day, boy. And it was something I was used to. It wasn't nothing to me, because I grew up around that kind of stuff. So to hear about somebody getting killed, you became desensitized. You become desensitized to it. And be like, oh man, you feel it just for a brief second, and be like, man, he gone, man. Like, but when you see it so much, it don't have that kind of shock and awe on you no more. So I wanted, my children, especially my boys, to experience something else, because So I told her I was a single dad. I got custody of them 4. That was 3 boys and a girl. And man, it was, we're in the hood, like, man, drug got us, guns, it's blaze. That's just how it was. So, I was married, and we wound up moving to Phoenix, Arizona. I was there 15 years. Some of my children and grandchildren still up there. They just love Arizona. I love Arizona. It's one of my favorite cities, no doubt, in the country is Phoenix. Very beautiful city, peaceful and hot. It's
hot.
Two seasons, hot and hot as hell. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
And, but it's a beautiful city, and a lot of nice energy in Arizona with the mountains and everything. And so then, but I went through a divorce up there while I'm getting remarried. And my ex-wife and I now, little Ghazi mother, we came down here to buy some land. So we came down here to Georgia and got 25 acres down here in Georgia, out in Bella Rica. And we started doing all kind of things, man. Like the ideas that God was giving me. We started like the Black Homesteader Conference. We had over a 3-year period, we had probably 5,000 people visit the land. We had homesteader conferences where we had people teach about tiny home building, how to find well water, how to dig for well water, how to hunt, how to build container homes. Anything you can think of dealing with homesteading and survival, we had demonstrations on the land, teaching, and we had food trucks out there. We had a lot of weddings on the land and field trips on the land, teaching young people how to hunt and how to forage and look for plants and how to plant food, And in the first few years, we had horses and cows and donkeys and chickens and I had never been around none of that kind of stuff in my life.
Some St. Louis, I was about to say.
I bought a horse, you know what I'm saying? And, we had this 2-acre pond out there. I never went fishing until I got out there, man. It was so funny. But I had some older brothers that they say, you ain't never been fishing? I said, nah, man, I ain't been fishing, man. And they bought me some fishing poles. And so they out there, throwing their little rods out there. I'm looking, I'm like, I seen it on TV. So they say, Ghazi, that's your pole. I pick up the pole, man. I throw it and the hook don't go nowhere. So I'm swinging like a baseball bat, man. I'm like, man, what the hell wrong with this hook, man? And the dude looking at me, he said, look, right, push the button there, brother. You gotta push the button. Then you go out there, right? And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I throw it, and then my first one, I'm like this, man. You think I call Moby Dick, right? I'm all like this. I call like a little tadpole, man.
Hey, but you caught it, bro.
Say, oh man, you gotta throw that back in. I say, no, sir. This is my first fish. Well, I'm eating this right here. It's going on the grill. No, I ain't throwing nothing back in, man. But being in nature taught me to respect that type of solitude and that kind of peace. Man, it's nothing like that in the world, man. Them stars look different. I know that means stars in the sky, In the city, you don't see stars like that on all these lights, artificial lights and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, just that peace of mind, the darkness, and listen to the animals and the birds, and it was just a whole nother world. Chickens, and man, I didn't know chickens lay eggs every day. I was so ignorant to that world. It's something. I remember we bought like 40 chickens, grown chickens. I put them in a barn. I go out there and I get the eggs from the chicken coop. I come back in there. I'm looking at the eggs. I don't know if I'm supposed to eat this thing or bleach or what. I'm like, man, do I just crack this thing and eat it? Because I was so ignorant to it. Then I go back the next day. It's more eggs out there.
More eggs.
Oh, the man, I get the eggs from. I say, man, I just got some eggs. It's some more eggs. He said, oh, man, these eggs every day. I say, every day? I literally thought they had to get pregnant, wait 9 months, and drop their load like a woman. I had no idea eggs every day. I was so ignorant to it. I didn't know you didn't need a rooster to lay eggs. I didn't know. I was so ignorant to it, but I was learning in real time. Even with the cows we got cows. I'm like, okay, now how I milk this thing? The man like, oh no, they eat meat cows. I say, what that mean? Ain't no milk. I'm ready to get some milk. He said, no, they eat meat cow. Man, I don't even eat meat like that, man. Like, we made so many mistakes, man, but we learned a lot. I learned a lot. Learned how to respect growing your own food, because that's far more healthier for you.
Yes,
the egg tastes different. The texture was different. We gave out chicken like real food, like stuff that's good for chicken. Drinking the well water had a different effect on you, and one of the older guys, the older farmer, he told me, man, when you go to the land, you get in nature, he said you add 30 to 40 years on your life.
Yeah.
You ain't into the hustle and bustle all the time of the city, the stress, the intensity, and it's just peace. And man, so to this day, I love just going to places just like, I respect the trees, man. I respect God's creation, man. If it's just a park or something, I'm going to the waterfall or something, just be with nature, just big on me right now. But that's why we moved to Atlanta. But then I want to go through the divorce again, but I'm still here. I love Atlanta now. I absolutely love the city.
Right. So when you compare your life and what you went through and you see the faces of your kids experiencing these things, man, how does that make you feel, bro?
Man, that's like a whole other world. I look at little Ghazi here, man, and he grew up, man. So we was like 1 month when he moved there. So you know he be
Okay.
5 in December.
That's all he knows.
And, man, and when he was young, he was grabbing the bull by the horn and the horse, man. I mean, the horses loved them, the donkeys loved them, the chickens loved them, and he just not so unafraid of any of that, man. He was so. And I would look, I say, man, this is really something, man. Like we grew up in the hood, like, man, he grew up like this old them, and then even when the older children come down to watch them ride horses and watch them deal with the hay and go feed the animals and go on the boat and go fishing. It's like a lot. It was like, wow, that's a whole other world. And to me, it's about that, you know, putting them in a position where they're better than we are. I tell my sons all the time when they was younger, they say, man, we're gonna be like you, Pop, because I'm doing a lot of positive stuff in the hood. And I say, no, sir, man, y'all gotta be better than me. You know, I want to put y'all on my shoulders so y'all can see beyond me. I want y'all to be better than me, man. I don't want y'all to be like me. I want you to be better. Like, look at my mistakes and my flaws and my shortcomings. Y'all learn from that and y'all take it to a whole nother level. I want to have, you know, where y'all can run the race. I don't want y'all to repeat the same things that I repeated. And we keep doing that like that. And I tell them, tell your sons to be better than you. And they sons be better than them. So 4-5 generations, man, you know, we back to Wakanda again. You know what I'm saying? We back to Wakanda forever. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now that is how you break the generational curse. I mean, to the point of passing it forward and teaching it forward and teaching your kids to teach their kids to teach their kids, you know, with the, you know, how to survive, how to live, how to, you know, and it's not just surviving. This is living. This is prosperous. Like you said, sharing the wealth, you know, you know, just allowing them to know I had my time. I wasn't always positive on some of the things I've done, but that is not a excuse for not being successful. That's not an excuse for not moving forward. Like you say, I didn't know my father, and you could hang on that thing, but you can also, as you said, turn it to a you know, a success story, turn it into, you know, a positive outcome of, you know, not saying that, like, again, I'm in your boat in that sense. I mean, I knew who my father was, but we didn't have that type of relationship. So, but when I got older, we became like really good friends. I mean, like, man, this guy's really cool. But I had to look at it like you know, you're saying in a sense. But when my mom had me, and she's in the chat, but when my mom had me, she was 15 years old. My dad had to be like 17 years old. So they were kids with a kid. So, you know, for me to expect them to know exactly what to do as a kid, to raise a kid is like, all right, so I was asking a lot. But I had to get older and I had to learn. And when I had my kids is when I started, like, now I understand. Now I can see, you know, why, you know, and you're thinking, you know, you missed out on something, but no, it just made you stronger. You just had to see the other side of it. You had to get through. And that's crazy. I mean, it's crazy that hearing your story and I can relate it to mine. So I appreciate you for sharing your story with me. Now, before we move any further, I ask any other question. What is a meat cow? Because I'm from the city, so I'm thinking we're going to milk this thing too. So if it's something else, you got to explain this to me.
So, you know, they got some cows that just bred for, like, cattle cow just for beef. You know, like you got the Jersey cow, the whole thing. Those more the milking cows where you get the milk from. But you got the other cows, man, that they pretty much bred for beef. That's where you get all your Angus steaks from, and your sirloins and your T-bones and all that kind of stuff, you know. And some of them just better for, you know, for milking. And I thought all cows were the same, man. But I learned that, no, it ain't like that, man. You know, it ain't like that, you know.
All right. No, I look, until you just said it, I didn't. I mean, I knew that you used those cows for that purpose, but I did not know that that was a like a milking cow couldn't be a meat cow or whatever. I guess you could make it a meat cow. I don't know. Right. So yeah, because if you needed it, you would eat it. But I guess if it was bred for meat only, it wouldn't be a milking cow. I couldn't get milk from it. Yeah. I appreciate that.
The same way with chickens, you know, they got some chickens that's bred to produce fast. I forgot the name of the chicken, but it's a brother here named Randy. He really educated me on a lot of these chickens. And some of these chickens, they bred to produce real quick, you know, and grow fast. You know, like I forgot this other little bird, man, that they think like every 21 days, these things go from baby to full grown. I forgot the name of this little bird. I went down to brother farm down in Tuskegee, Alabama. This brother had a lot of these little, I forgot the name of these birds, man.
Not a quail.
Huh?
Not a quail.
Quail?
Not a quail.
Hold on, a quail?
Yeah, was it a quail?
It might be a quail. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be quail.
Yeah, 21 days to kind of ring a bell in my brain there, but I could be wrong.
I think it's a quail, but I'm not saying that. It kind of, it is quail because quail eggs is real small.
Right, real small.
And, but they got a lot of protein in them or something, a lot of vitamins or whatever. But they little.
Yes.
They take about 50 of them to make you a good egg sandwich. You know what I'm saying? but these things, when I went down there, it's an older brother I met down in Tuskegee, Alabama. I went down to his land, and he had a million of these quail birds, man. And so he had a lot of them, and he would tell me how they grow, like from full size, like it'd be like within 30 days, and you could sell them, man. And they were like delicacies. And so I learned so much about the land, and just got a respect for the land, man. You know.
So when you bring your family, you still have family in St. Louis, I would imagine, right? So when you bring your family from any city down to the farm, I know they just lose their minds, man. I mean, like they can't.
I've had some of the family come down there, man, and they just absolutely loved it, man. You know, it's some of my older aunts and stuff that they, you know, like they up in age, and you know, they can't get it. They have health challenges, and you know, some of them I wish could come. You know, I wish mom was still around, where you know she could see certain things, but yeah, like the elders can't really get around. Like my older aunts, they have got heart problems, they got all kind of physical ailments and stuff, man. But you know, some of the ones that been down, they just love it, man. They like. Man, and I used to, and I'm a storyteller, so I say, man, I went from the hood life to the good life. You know, it was like a whole nother world. It opened my mind to a whole nother world. You know.
So, speaking of storytelling, your books. Tell us about your books.
So my first book was called Straight Up 17 Lessons on Living Authentically, and it was dealing with like us being authentic. You know, authenticity is real big with me. Like I think when you true to yourself, you know, wherever you at, you know, be true to yourself. You know, that makes you magnetic, charismatic. It pulls people into you, and it helps you grow for real from a real place, not trying to front to be something that you're not, and all that. You know, like you know, social media got us doing all kind of stuff nowadays. You know, we can make ourselves perfect and all that. Now, man, just be true to yourself and really improve yourself in a real way. But you know, one of my best-selling books is Flush That Shit. And but shit is an acronym. SHIT stands for self-hindering internal traumas. Wow. So it's like to flush it, and it has an assessment in it. You know, it's funny because it got an assessment in the front of the book that tells you how full of shit you are, right? And so it's a lady, and you really mark it, and it grades you. And if you got moderate shit level, you can just take your apple and drink some apple juice, and you good. Some people, they straight compacted. They need like a bowel reconstruction or something. They got so much in them, you know. And so it was a lady bought my book in Georgia, you know, it was a Caucasian lady. And she said, Ghazi, you know, I just realized I got a lot of shit I'm dealing with. I said, you know what? And I joke with her. I know you was full of shit when I first met you. I knew you was full of shit when I first met you, you know. But, you know, that's a good book. And, you know, one of my latest books was The Vibrational Frequency of a Felon. That's a book I just finished. And so Felon is my coaching program. It don't have nothing to do with people that has been locked up for real. Felon is the 5 things, an acronym for the 5 things that I recognize that kept me limited and restricted in life. Well, I could have been a lot further, a lot faster had I dealt with these earlier. So it's an acronym that stands for fear, excuses, limited belief in myself, obstacles, and negative thinking. So I walk people through a parole process mentally. And I say most of us are in the mental parole. So when I do a workshop on this, on my Felon framework, I'll walk into a room and I say, by show of hands, how many people in here ever allow fear to stop you from doing something? The whole room raise their hand. I say, by show of hands, how many people ever use excuses on why you couldn't accomplish something? I'm black, I'm poor, I'm a convict, I'm a mama drug addict. Everybody raise their hand. Good. You too. Oh, yeah. How many people ever use limited belief in yourself? You thought you needed more education, more credentials, more certifications. They raise their hand. I say, good. I'm in a room full of damn felons. Oh, y'all some felons, right? So what I learned was that most of us have a self-imposed, self-created prison. And what I do is I walk people through a parole process. Same way I got parole from prison, I walk people through a mental parole process. And I tell them that prison is not a place for people who have committed crimes. Prison is the place for people who have been convicted of committing a crime. And one definition of conviction is a strongly held belief or opinion. So if I believe I ain't nothing, if I believe I ain't worthy, I'm really sentencing myself to 5-10 years behind bars, behind a self-imposed, self-created prison. And so I tell people that everybody here, some of us, we holding on to things. I'm gonna say this to the listening audience. We holding on to something.
Sir.
And as you hold on to it, it really holds on to you. And it become a self-imposed, self-created prison. And we send ourselves, some of us, we holding on tight. We send ourselves to 5-10 years behind bars, behind a self-imposed, self-created prison. Some of us holding on a little tighter. We send ourselves to life without the possibility of parole. We're going to live like this for the rest of our lives. Some of us have just lost our mind. We really holding on to it. We ain't letting nothing go. We send ourselves to death row. It's affecting our health, high blood pressure, diabetes, strokes, aneurysms, heart problems. So I say, but the thing with this prison is you got the key. You the warden. You can walk up out of that prison anytime you want. It's a matter of change, shifting your perspective and making a choice to do something different, you know. So my job is to overturn these convictions that we have in our mind. These convictions, not in the court system, the conviction we got in our own mind that we hold, that we can convict ourselves to the self-imposed, self-created prison. So that felon 2.0, the vibrational frequencies of a felon, I began to study because Ghazi Muhammad said thought travels, and every thought has a frequency to it, right? So I began to study, but what's the frequency of fear? What kind of vibrational frequency did fear put out? What about excuses? What about limited belief? What about options, negative thinking? And when I researched all that, I'm like, this is deep, because it all puts off a frequency. And that frequency began to shape and mold and create our reality and stuff. And it attracts to us the nature of that thought, right? And so the vibrational frequency of a felon, it's those who are dealing with fear, excuses, limited belief in themselves, obstacles, and negative thinking. That's a book I just finished. And what I do also is help other people write their books. So I've helped other people write books now, you know, the Story Alchemist. So people call me across the country. I have clients across the country that I've helped written books. And now I listen to their story, and we'll extract powerful lessons from their story, develop a framework and an outline, and go from that. You know, bring their book to fruition.
So we suffer more in our imaginations, right?
No doubt.
And I saw a video the other day. It's a kid with some feed. You're talking about your farm, and he has all these geese running behind him, and they're just trying to get to the feed, right? But he hasn't figured out. He's scared to death. I mean, he's running and screaming and hollering and crying. But if you just let the fear go, you just let go.
Right.
I mean, that's like it's like, duh, you just let it go. The geese go to what they want, and you're free, so to speak, you know, because like you said, I mean, and when I saw that, it just blew my mind, because that was I love analogies, metaphors, and similes. You know, I love that because they're great lesson teachers, just like you said earlier about the Bible and some of the lessons that you share. And Jack always messes with me because he may call me the cliche king or whatever. I don't know. But when you're talking to somebody and you put it in practical terms, they can get it, because we don't see. It's hard for us to see what others see in us or about us that really could be holding us down. You know what I mean? Because we go for comfort. I mean, comfortability. You know, our level of comfort is what it is, and you know, we kind of scared to get out of the comfort zone. And I have to check myself on that a lot, man. I mean, I've always have, and just to be self-aware since I was a kid, just try to be more self-aware, man. And it seems like your books, man, ought to be in schools, man. So where can we get your books?
Man, all of them on Amazon. If you go to Amazon, look at Ghazi Muhammad, they're all on Amazon. And then you can also on social media, you can, if somebody contact me on social media, Dr. Ghazi Muhammad, on IG, Facebook, TikTok, all of them, LinkedIn. I had a website that I literally just yesterday, we redoing my website, because I've done so many things. I had that website for years, and I've been out in the motherland. I need to upgrade pictures and videos and all kind of stuff. So, you know, we redoing the website with, you know, GhaziMuhammad.com should be up and running about another week or so.
Well, Walt Talks, just letting you know, Boss B has dropped a link down in the chat. So she was saying that he got the link is down there. She got his Facebook link down. So if you want to get in touch with Dr. Muhammad here, it's easy to just click on those links that's there in the chat, and we'll make sure with the bios and all that with this show, we'll make sure we put all those links in so we can make sure we support you. So, Dr. Muhammad, before we close the show out, when your podcast, when do you do your podcast? Or you do a show similar to this, or is it just not say just, but how is your podcast ran, and when can we watch that?
Yeah, similar to this. I have interviews lined up. You know, I just kicked it off like just a couple of weeks ago. But I have interviews lined up. I'm starting interviewing people, and like, you know, similar to this on StreamYard in another week or so. And then But share the wealth is also, I'm gonna have a random component to it, where I had a gear on, have my phone and my speakers, and out on the streets of Atlanta, man, wherever I'm traveling to, and just walk up to random people like, hey, I'm Dr. Ghazi with Share the Wealth podcast. Give me one, one nugget to share with younger generation. One lesson you learned in your life, just random people, And I found that a lot of people willing to share, some of their own life lessons, because these are just the real wealth, So it ain't just people. I'm sure I walk up to anybody, man. I just talking. They share. They get away from me. I'm go to the next person. I'm gonna find somebody who got something that they've experienced that they want to share and pass on and impart, to somebody else.
Wow. No, I understand. So I thank you, sir. Hard to believe that we went through an hour. And so we will close this show out. So I'm going to see if Boss B is ready to come up and give us our little report. Yeah, see she's there. Let's get her up on the stage. Let's give her, we ain't did her intro in a while. Let me see if I got it down here. Give it a second. All right, Boss B, better than Nightbot. What's going on, Boss B? How you doing? Yeah, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
There we go.
There you go.
That's what, you still can't hear me.
Yeah, we got you. We got you now.
Yeah. Okay. My goodness. Pardon me. I'm supposed to be the technical help here. And so let's try this again. Wonderful story. So great to hear all that wonderful news, that all the wonderful things you have going on. And my goodness, so many children. I stopped at 3, but I want grandchildren. So anyway, I'm sorry. We do have some numbers that I would like to celebrate, because this is community. This is not about monetization. This is about connection, and this is us. Boss Man just hit 2605 in subs just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, congrats.
And we have 2597 in watch hours. 2597, less than 500 hours away. There you go. Yeah. But I've got Miss Sharon. I didn't see Niecy out there, but I love you anyway. Edward Johnson. And I really hope my Texas accent doesn't mess this up. Kafani Shabazz, I think. I hope. Okay. That's who we have in our chat.
No problem. All right. So we just thank everyone who came out today. And Dr. Muhammad, we definitely thank you for dropping your wisdom, sharing your wealth of knowledge and understanding of a lot of things on us today. And thank you for being on the show on here. I learned a lot. I mean, I definitely, even if we break it down to the cow, I'm telling you, coming from the city, I want to thank each and every person who has subscribed to this channel, helping us continue to grow. We do know we got the 90-day challenge going on. So I'll be visiting at least 3 channels a day, watching the videos and dropping the comments and hitting that hashtag grow and glow together. For those who don't know, we have our shirts out now. So we're on Etsy. So if you go on Etsy, you'll be able to find the Iron Sharpening Iron shirts, the Walt Talks shirt, the Boss B shirts. There's shirts for everything. So that's pretty cool knowing that they're out there. But this has been a true pleasure. I am so happy to have this platform to be able to meet new people and learn new things. And Dr. Muhammad did not disappoint me today, and I appreciate that. So, Dr. Muhammad, if you don't mind hanging back as we close this show out, we'll talk to you a little bit afterwards. And for everyone that's out there, we'll see you Wednesday for the next Iron Sharpening Iron Show. We got a wonderful guest coming up. But until then, stay blessed, and we'll talk to you all later. All right.
Dr. Muhammad. Yes, sir.